opponent that wants to speak. Name and address, sir.
My name is Lou Greenstein, 5 Sunset Ave, North Reading. I have to be honest, I did attend a meeting at the restaurant 2 weeks ago because I read the article in the paper. My area of expertise is restaurants. I'm a culinary consultant, very well known in the industry. My real reason for being here was that I've been reading the articles, the paper, and hearing the negativity. And one of the directions of the food service industry within the town environment are small, privately held bistros that enhance the local ambiance. We don't really have anything like that in our town. We plenty in Wakefield, plenty in Reading, plenty in all the other areas, but it's something that we lack. As far as the licensing, maybe you've been to Europe. I mean, you don't have a 4-seat restaurant open up without beer and wine license in the middle of a city environment, right? Because it's part of the positive dining environment. Frankly, the dynamic of dining, especially in the evening, with the number of seats that you have here, there's a concept called turnover that you heard about earlier today. It would be wonderful if you had 100% turnover in a restaurant like that. It doesn't happen. You're lucky to see 50 to 70% seat turnover in the dinner environment. Breakfast is a very different story. The dinner environment, that's what you see. So all the concepts, the statistics, aren't really relevant as it relates to a normal restaurant environment in this type of situation. Plus the fact that, as somebody mentioned, it's a walking environment. And people coming, hopefully walking through the situation. I don't have a horse in this race. I've eaten breakfast in this restaurant once. My only position is that as a town that wants to attract other people, I like the terminology that was used as far as excitement. This is not going to create, no one's going to move to North Reading because it's a restaurant in town, but it does enhance the opportunity. And it would be very sad for the long reason not to grant the type of license. And plus the fact that there's far more to fear from people having house parties where there's no control of drinking, where there's no liquor liability on the part of the homeowners, right? Where you have 10 and 15 cars, and you add up all the houses and all the people who are having parties, weddings, but graduations, birthday parties. There's far more danger from that, and we don't govern that type of situation. I don't see this as a major issue. I think it's when it's passed and it's gone, you're going to see a situation where you're going to have an enhanced environment and people who have a negative perspective. And I empathize, but I think it's a fear of something that isn't really there. And based on my life experience as a consultant in this industry, it just doesn't happen that way. Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you.
And I don't mean to talk about that's reality.
Okay, I think we have an opponent's turn.
Hi, Patricia O'Cap, 10 Wright Street. Good evening. I don't think the whole idea tonight is really all about parking. I don't want the alcohol served there near my home, period. I'm not in favor of it. Route 28 is where most of the alcohol is served. We have a side of town that was mentioned tonight that is quite quiet after a certain time of night. I like it. I live in a neighborhood where I've had a few people say, I love your neighborhood, it's so quiet here. We like that. As far as kids go, yeah, I don't want them walking by the establishment having any alcohol, period. It's not a good place. If you want to know why people are complaining, we don't want the alcohol. We didn't mind breakfast and lunch. We probably all turned our heads because parking isn't great. We never complain because they're good people, they have a nice business. We wish them well. We've never wished them anything but well. But when they brought the alcohol into it, it's become a huge issue, and parking is an issue. And by the way, I've seen many people park at Christopher's and walk across. So that is an issue as far as when you start drinking and crossing that street ain't such a good idea. So just a few things in my notes, because everybody has a lot to say here. So I don't care for it on this side of town. I like how quiet my town is. I don't want it. I don't want it near the kids, period. And I live about 320 feet away. It is right near the daycare center. It's right near a school. It doesn't sound very good having an establishment near the elementary school, the library, and a daycare center to be having alcohol served. As far as the traffic goes, you have to consider that it's breakfast and lunch. We're not talking rush hour and supper time where, of course, there's tons of traffic. So no one could really monitor what it's going to be like at supper because obviously they'll know. Consider it being open at nighttime and drinking along with it will be a lot worse. And yeah, we'll probably see a few accidents. I'm glad there are none so far, but I'm sure there's been many close calls. Also, I was just going to mention too about the plowing, the snow plowing and whatnot. I'm not sure what's going to happen now with the parking situation, just as they mentioned that you can't dump the snow anywhere near the river. And so I don't know what the situation is going to be now that they've changed the parking and what's allowed. And I do wonder where Mike Carter is, everybody. Just want to mention that, you know, he keeps telling people he's going to allow it. I find that a bit odd at a gas station when he's going to be a lot more liable if people walk across there. I think that would be great. It is a gas station. That probably shouldn't be an establishment with people who are parking. I'm against it completely. I will fight it to the end. Thank you so much.
Proponent
Cal.
that has not spoken yet.
My name's Eddie Baker, I live at 32 Tower Hill Road. I take my kids in there on Sunday mornings. I know the Del Greco's just from the restaurant, and they seem to have jumped through hoops for everything that was asked of them to get this license. They've tried hard. I've been in there when a delivery truck's pulled in the wrong way, and Tony's run out of the kitchen to tell them, you don't park here, and straighten out the delivery truck where they park, that's supposed to be the right way. I can't imagine them losing this business over having a beer with dinner. As far as kids walking by and seeing alcohol, that's a parent's job. I don't know how that could hurt the child, but it's not like the expressway down there either. Every Sunday, my family's there, and never have I seen anything that would be considered even close to dangerous. But I guess the neighbors have a lot of concerns with that. I haven't seen it, but they do a great job, and I think they do everything asked them if they do get this license. I don't think they take a chance of losing anything or harming anything for their business.
Thank you. Opponent? Gentleman in the rear? Is someone else raising their hand back there?
David Crisco, 101 Park Street. I guess I'll try to make this as short as possible. To me, the issue is in fact the same issue that Officer Romeo brought up. Safety with regard to that corner, especially that corner after Route 62 has been reworked. If you're traveling from Park Street east onto 62, it's long. You cannot see across that bridge. You have to creep out across the crosswalk to see. Parking at the restaurant in front, which may no longer be legal, and so maybe not an issue, was a problem. It's almost impossible to get by there if you travel through there and live near there. Most people go through Mount Vernon, as somebody mentioned. They do that because you're constantly having to dodge people come out of there if it's during business hours. In the reverse order, from 62 onto Park Street, it's even worse. It's totally blind. You have to know that you're going to have to pretty much stop and see if someone's there. Somebody gave you pictures of the parallel or the nose-in parking or whatever. You can see in some of those cases half the roadway is covered by vehicles. That's a problem. In general, assuming that parking is eliminated, there's also another house on the property which has residents. They have vehicles. The question would be asked, which parking spaces belong to them, which belong to the restaurant? How's that going to be enforced? If they, in fact, hire additional people, someone suggested it doesn't, however many of those are going to be on site, where are they going to park? As somebody else mentioned, we don't have anything against the restaurant, but there's a question to what that site can do, what capacity can it safely operate under, and it needs off-street parking. In an urban environment, as somebody suggested, sure, there's no problem, there's no parking, there's public transportation. I don't think you can count on that happening in North Reading. You need a base amount of parking. So one thing that could be is how many spaces they actually have, where their employees are gonna park. The other building on that property has residents where they're gonna park. I think essentially you're trying to do too much with that property as it is.
Thank you. Proponent. Is someone over on this side that, sitting on the wrong side?
Hi, my name is Sarah Houston, and I live just in Maine, in Brooklyn. But I'm here in favor of San Antonio getting a liquor license, mainly because we need a small family-owned restaurant in North Reading where you can have dinner, you can have a glass of wine, where it's not like the number jungle, like watching the game, Kitty's or all the other restaurants that are more sports bars. I don't like chain restaurants, so if I want to go and have like a nice family experience or whoever, I have to go to Reading. I can't go in my own town and have a nice home dinner. Danny told me other private people that their restaurant already is a family-owned restaurant, family atmosphere. Their families come in there, they know every single customer in there. They're new customers, they know they're new customers. That's what a family-owned restaurant is. Or like Piccadilly Pizza Pub, they don't know half the people there, you know? It's like, they have a family-owned restaurant. I don't know why we wouldn't want a family-owned restaurant in North Reading to, you know, help them and have that family experience. That's it.
Thank you. An opponent. Have you been up yet? Okay.
Thank you, Matt, for anyone to make comments. I will not belabor it, even though we have limited information. As you know, I'm here in opposition to issuing of this license. Nothing significant has changed at 118 Park Street since we have stood before you only 7 months ago. I sent you all letters, you know a lot more in detail on how I feel. After reading the police report and the APC report, it is hard to believe that the parties at 118 Park Street, the tenants of Del Greco, and the owners, Mr. Liasco, are still pursuing this issue. It is becoming more annoying to have to be here again when all our lives are so busy. But it has caused us, those in opposition, to become even more adamant, strong, and more organized than before. We don't need this obligation, but we are going to be vigilant. And we do not, the issue here for us isn't just the safety and parking, it's alcohol. We do not want alcohol served in our downtown, not our downtown, in our area, in our neighborhood. We own our property, and we bought it because its proximity to the library, school, and historic center. It has and still has a small town feel, and that is how we want to keep it. The owner lives in Arlington, and the Del Gracos are new to town, and I guess they just don't get the small town thing. An alcohol serving license would be a significant change to our area. This type of business is not just like another business. If it were, it would not be subject to a whole other set of laws to regulate what could go on there. Alcohol is not, in my opinion, an asset or an enhancement to society, and certainly not to our neighborhood or community. In fact, as stated by our chief, no matter how well-intentioned the applicant is, the neighbors will experience an adverse impact. I know I personally will smell the cigarette smoke coming up from all the people that have to stand on a busy corner and smoke the cigarette. Never mind the noise. I actually, please do not allow this to get a foothold down in that area of North Reading. We have 15 establishments out on 14 on Route 28. The Del Gracos do not own the property, they just leased it. So it makes it even more precarious. What if Mr. Liasco sells the property, the Greco lease expires and they don't renew it? What happens in that case? We're talking about a license being issued, we've been told that it's